He's supposed to be fighting Ankalaev. Ankalaev is very dangerous, and I think he's the #1 contender, and he's been on a winning streak for a long time. He's only got one draw, but this fucking knockout is so wild. And then he gets on the top of the ropes and screams like a monster. Listen to the sounds he makes when he screams. Watch this. Fighting strange. It's like hands down, straight up.
Yeah.
You know, and he moves in on you, and it's just like it's so filled with danger.
Yeah.
Like every step he moves towards guys, you see this like recognition of this, like it's a different kind of power.
To beat someone like Pereira is going to be a wrestler. Someone's going to be able to take him down, put him in the fence, smash him. If you're going to stand up and strike with Pereira, this could be a long night for you or a short night, one or the other.
UFC's two most dangerous fighters are about to collide. Alex Pereira, the devastating knockout artist, is about to face Magomed Ankalaev, the powerhouse light heavyweight, with an unrelenting striking game. And here are the MMA community's honest predictions.
He's supposed to be fighting Ankalaev. Ankalaev is very dangerous, and I think he's the #1 contender, and he's been on a winning streak for a long time. He's only got one draw, and that was to Jan Blachowicz, who was the former champion. So he's like at the top of the heap, and he's been waiting for a title shot for a long time, but he's been talking a lot of
Alex, stop running away for me.
and Alex doesn't like that he talked.
Yeah.
So he's like, technical when he was walking down Izzy, when they were like hand fighting and he was checking these kicks. I'm like, this is dangerous in every way. It's not just dangerous power. He's sneaky. He's really technical and creative when he's hitting people.
Yeah.
Pereira is currently the #2 pound-for-pound fighter in the world according to the MMA Fighting Global Rankings, and coming off a sensational year where he recorded 3 knockout victories, including a fight of the night winning battle against Kill Roundtree in October, and finished second for Fighter of the Year.
Even that thing he does when he's walking out and he does this whirl thing and he throws his combination, it doesn't look fluid. He's like boom, boom, boom. But you know, like if that dude hits you with that, you're going to sleep.
You go to sleep. Everybody goes to sleep.
Yuri's in there dancing, and Yuri's like doing all kind of like weird stuff, right? And Alexa's like,
just stone face.
Stone face. Like I'm going
to. It was one of the greatest stare downs ever.
I'm going to kill you. Is what he's thinking. Like this dance your weird ass.
Joe Rogan has frequently expressed admiration for Alex Pereira's exceptional power and presence in the UFC. He believes that Pereira's striking prowess and knockout ability have made him one of the sport's biggest stars, and that he is an exceptionally dangerous fighter in the UFC.
That guy's one of the biggest pay-per-view stars in the country, in the world. Most people don't even understand what he's saying.
And he's a star, right?
He's a huge star.
All he has to do is make facial expressions.
Yeah, but it's scary.
Yeah.
Like when he comes out with the bow and arrow, boom, 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 boom. Ah! If you're sitting there watching that guy walk to the cage, you're like, ah, shit.
Alex Pereira is not just an elite MMA fighter. He is a multi-talented athlete with a unique training style that sets him apart from others. His background in kickboxing, where he became a multi-division glory champion, gives him one of the most lethal striking arsenals in the UFC.
You know how hard that is to do? Yeah. He kicked a soccer ball and then shot it with an arrow.
Oh, he really shoots arrows?
Yes.
I thought he was just around.
No, he's really good. That
guy's right out of the Amazon.
Give me some volume on this, because when he screams, imagine being the neighbor and hearing this. Here, he hits it. Imagine being the neighbor.
Oh, 911, right?
And then you watch him on pay-per-view, I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ, you can't even complain. That's why it's so interesting that a guy like Pereira gets as high as he gets with none of that. You just need to people up. You don't even need to speak English.
Rogan further discussed the insane power of Alex Pereira, and that is the distinctiveness of Pereira's leg kicks, describing them as the weirdest leg kicks due to their deceptive nature. He also explained that Pereira's kicks don't come with a traditional wind-up, making them difficult to anticipate. The power behind them isn't just brute force. It's a mix of timing, precision, and hidden explosiveness that leaves opponents reacting too late.
Alex Pereira kicked my leg. I was like, this shit hurts.
That dude has the weirdest leg kicks. They're so sneaky.
My cousin had the greatest analogy for Pereira. He goes, he is Thanos. Literally just collecting stones, infinity stones.
You look at this bit of his.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a hammer.
you know, like the back of a hammer or a hammer like a ball pen. It is, because that's what he kicks you with as well. So he doesn't have to, he doesn't have to turn the hip over.
Right.
And then when he hits you with that, even because he's bone density, long legs, and he hits you with that, you just feel it like, ooh, that's bad. And it's a different feeling, because I've been kicked by kickboxers all my life, on the thigh, on the calf as well. But when he hits you with that bit, it's just the surface area is so small, but it travels and transfers through your whole calf, and you're like, oh, I can't put weight on this.
Rogan highlighted Pereira's unorthodox striking style and noted he's so long. And he's also so odd in his striking movements. He elaborated that Pereira's strikes don't always look fluid or conventional, but they land with devastating impact. Due to his raw power and precision, Rogan pointed out how Pereira's ability to blend his striking with subtle feints makes him even more dangerous.
That dude is so sneaky with that kick.
And if you get too close, he's going to punch you.
Yeah. Well, he's so long, and he's also so odd in his striking
His movements. He's like this tall.
Yeah.
He's tall.
They're very odd.
And he's like, and if you get close, it's the right hand. Even that thing he does when he's walking out, and he does this will thing, and he throws his combination.
Yeah.
It doesn't look fluid. He's like boom, boom, boom. But you know, like if that dude hits you with that.
Rogan said on a recent episode, he's supposed to be fighting Envy is very dangerous, and he's a #1 contender. And he's been on a winning streak for a long time. He's only got one draw, and that was to Jan Blachowicz, who was a former champion. So he's at the top of the heap, and he's been waiting for a title shot for a long time. But he's been talking a lot of an Alex.
That guy's unbelievable watching him.
He's a monster, dude. He's a monster.
Force.
He's a force. What he did to Khalil Roundtree was a clinic.
Khalil's amazing,
He's
too.
amazing. To do that to a guy like Khalil, like that was a clinic in like elite world-class MMA.
And at first, the first 2 rounds, you're like, what is this like? What's going on?
Yeah.
Khalil's in it. They're both in it. But then you start to see that Pereira's hunting. It's like this hunting.
Joe Rogan didn't hold back. When talking about Alex Pereira, he called him to go where Rogan praised Pereira's dominance in the octagon, his unmatched knockout power, and his incredible fighting style, which have solidified him as one of the most dangerous and skilled fighters in UFC history, with performances like his. It's no wonder people are already considering him one of the greatest to ever do it in the middleweight division.
So he's standing in front of you, and when he kicks, there's no movement of his shoulders. He's just throwing these kicks out, and they land. And they're not as hard as if he put his whole body into it, but it's hard enough where you're like, oh, no. And you get hit with a couple of those, 3, 4, 5 of those. And all of a sudden, you're like, I can't walk anymore, and now he's hunting you, and he's hunting you. See, I would put him already in the conversation. I don't think he's better than John Jones, greatest of all time, but I already put him in the conversation as a potential greatest of all time nominee.
Joe Rogan recently gave his take on the upcoming Alex Pereira versus Magomed Ankalaev matchup. And let's just say things are getting heated. Rogan dropped AB's show regarding the timing of the fight. And it seems like Pereira has a strategic reason for possibly stepping away from the March date. But what does this mean for Ankalaev in the title fight, Rogan said? So he's like, __, him make him wait. Alex just said that he's going to fight in March, and that he's not going to fight Ankalaev because if he's fighting in March, when his Ramadan, Ankalaev wouldn't be able to fight in March, he's got to go through the entire month of Ramadan preparing for a world title fight. That's exactly during the time period when he's going to fight MMA fighter Tito. Ortiz recently weighed in on Alex Pereira's striking power, and his words pack a punch. Tito said that Pereira hits extremely hard, and he's not the only one who thinks so with his brutal knockout ability and vicious strikes. Poon has proven time and again that he's a force to be reckoned with.
To beat someone like Pereira is going to be a wrestler. Someone's going to be able to take him down, put him in the fence, smash him. If you're going to stand up and strike with Pereira, this could be a long night for you or a short night, one or the other. That guy's a monster, just his distance and the way he reacts on punches. I like the way when someone punches him, it's literally like moves and punches back. Moves, punches back. Everything's a reaction, all punches that strikes that he does. Guy's vicious, and he punches hard.
Despite Pereira's reluctance, ANV's manager Ali Abdulaziz recently said that he's confident his fighter will get the light heavyweight title shot Magomed. And Cave issued a stern warning to UFC light heavyweight champion Alex Pereira Ankalaev had to heavily campaign to finally get his shot at Pereira, and is eager to make him pay Ankalaev mock Pereira for traveling to Sydney this past week to corner Sean Strickland at. UFC 312 Alex Pereira, UFC this guy, keeps traveling, and he forgets he will be fighting for his life March 8th. He will never be the same after this fight. Dana White marked my words. Magomed Ankalaev again tweeted, I never want to hurt someone in my life like I want to hurt Alex. He is a fake humble boy. Univ insists on his game plan of standing and trading with Alex, who has knocked out his past 4 opponents. I've been climbing mountains, chopping with swimming in freezing lake, and Alex has been dancing and making a video. Like TikTok chick, I've been climbing mountains, chopping with swimming in freezing lakes, and Alex has been dancing and making videos like TikTok chick. Don't forget, I will make a copy of this. Anby, meanwhile, is unbeaten since dropping his UFC debut back in 2018 with 11 wins, 1 draw, and 1 no contest. Over his past 12 fights, the number 2 ranked light heavyweight also had a strong 2024, scoring a KO win over Johnny Walker in January and then a unanimous decision win over Alexander Rocket. In October, the British interim champion sees an interesting chess match brewing between Pereira and Anby. According to Aspen, Anby needs to play it smart and make Alex Pereira worry about takedowns. He pointed out that just strike, which Anby and his manager have said they would do repeatedly with the Brazilian, is like playing Russian roulette, basically not the best survival strategy. The Dastani fighter needs to keep Pereira guessing, using the threat of takedowns to open up striking opportunities. It's similar to how Khabib Nurmagomedov used to make his opponents fear the ground game so much that they would walk right into his punches. Aspen stated this fight is the one that I'm looking forward to. This is potentially stylistically a bad matchup for Alex Pereira, but Ankalaev has gone out there saying he is going to strike with him. Fair enough, strike with him. That would be great. But don't forget to make him think about the takedowns as well. That is where success is going to come. The stakes in this fight are particularly high because of what could come next. Aspen knows that if Pereira wins, he might come knocking on the heavyweight division's door. The same guy who started as a middleweight will now be trying to become the first 3-division champion in UFC history. Tom Aspen thinks the whole fight hinges on the first few minutes. If Nkv doesn't establish his wrestling threat early, he might end up joining Pereira's highlight reel of spectacular knockouts. On the flip side, if Magomed Ankalaev can mix things up, well, he could give Pereira his biggest test. Yet many fans think Anby could win if he focuses on taking Pereira down, but isn't convinced that Anby's wrestling is strong enough to dominate the fight. In that way, Anby's wrestling against Paul Craig wasn't impressive, with Craig even getting the better of him on the ground and eventually submitting him. This implies that Anby's grappling skills might not be up to par with what would be needed to control Pereira.
I think Ankalaev's a smart guy. He's going to take him down.
It's got it, right?
He's just going to take him down. I don't think his wrestling is like unbelievable. He's not a wrestler. People think, oh, Russian wrestler. No, he's not a wrestler.
I'm still going Pereira.
I think Pereira's going to win as well. If Ankalaev just wrestles the whole fight, he could probably win. But I don't think his wrestling is that good. He wrestled with Paul Craig, and Paul Craig was taking him down.
Yeah.
Craig ended up submitting him. Not impressed with his ground game, his grappling. He's going to have to strike with him at some point, and I think Pereira will knock him out. That's just the reality of the situation.
If Ankalaev beats Alex Pereira by the transitive property of geometric shapes,
I'm the 205 champ.
you are the 205 champ.
Yeah.
Many fans lean toward Pereira winning the fight, reasoning that while Anby could try to wrestle, at some point he'll need to strike with Pereira. Magomed Ankalaev is known for his impressive skills in the UFC light heavyweight division and trains rigorously to maintain his elite level of performance. His training involves a combination of striking, grappling, and conditioning, which are essential to his well-rounded skill set. Anby is a powerful striker, often relying on his Muay Thai and kickboxing skills. He works on his striking at high-level gyms, focusing on precision, timing, and power in his punches and kicks. His training includes both shadow boxing and sparring sessions with top-level fighters to improve his striking accuracy and versatility. However, in the co-main event, former interim lightweight champion Justin Gay returns to action in a 5-round fight with fellow top 10 lightweight Dan Hooker guy he fought just once in 2020 for losing his BMF title to Max Holloway at UFC 300 in the fight of the year and also the knockout of the year. Hooker also only fought once in 2024, taking a split decision win over Mateo Gamera at UFC 305. In August, the rest of the main card features a collection of ranked fighters, rising stars, and big names with Jalen Turner, Amanda Limos, and King Green all getting spots on the pay-per-view portion of the card. The full card and bout order are still to be announced, Yen Bloy believes. Magomed Ankalaev needs to make a big change to his fighting style if he is to beat UFC. Light heavyweight champion Alex Pereira, UFC 313 next month. Blachowicz has shared the octagon with both men, so is in a great position to make a prediction for next month's title fight. But he was very critical after watching ANV's performance against Alexander Rocket at UFC 308. Blachowicz said if Ankalaev fights like the last fight with Rocket, he's going to lose the fight. He needs to do something more. He is a good fighter, but it's not enough for Pereira in this kind of style. He needs to change. Ankalaev defeated Rocket, and after his victory, he called out Pereira, stating, "I think I've done everything to earn the title shot. I'd like to talk to Alex. I'd like to tell him to stop running away from me. We should fight." That's what everybody wants to see. However, Blachowicz still wasn't convinced. As he said, he needs to be more. He has to believe in what he's doing. I think he doesn't believe it. He just wants to win the fight, but doesn't take too many punches. He is very careful in what he's doing, and I think this kind of way fighting with Pereira will not work. Black fought ANV in a split draw at UFC 282 in December 2022 before the Polish fighter lost via split decision to Pereira in July 2023. He hasn't competed since his loss to the Brazilian in Pereira's light heavyweight debut, but returns against rising contender Carlos Olberg on the 22nd of March at UFC Fight Night 255 in London after losing the UFC middleweight championship to Israel Adna at UFC 282. Pereira moved up to light heavyweight and has gone 5-0 in the division, including 3 successful title defenses, despite what Blachowicz thinks Ankalaev has vowed to knock Pereira out, and says he doesn't need to resort to his grappling to take out the champ, but Blachowicz doesn't believe his prediction. He said the same before Rocket, that we were going to see a new ANV, but everybody saw that this fight was very boring. I almost go to sleep. So maybe he will start saying the same thing, and then he will fight again in a very boring style. 3 fights ago, I would have picked ANV, but now Pereira. Meanwhile, Joe Rogan highlighted that Pereira often weighs in at 184 pounds during official weans, but can reach up to 219 pounds on fight day, resulting in a weight gain of approximately 35 pounds within a short period. Rogan expressed concern over such drastic weight fluctuations, describing the practice of extreme weight cutting in mixed martial arts as sanctioned cheating. Clip 12. Rogan has also pointed out that this kind of weight cutting is tough on the body, and that Pereira, being a former kickboxer, has mastered the art of cutting and rehydrating without losing too much performance. Clip 13. A UFC welterweight has offered his candid opinion on the impending light heavyweight bout between Alex Pereira and Magomed, and Cliff's schedule for UFC 313. Pereira, the light heavyweight UFC champion, has defended his gold thrice, finishing all 3 notable challengers, Jamal Hilji Paza and Kill ROI Jr., at UFC 313. Watton will lock horns with Envy, the number 1 ranked contender who earned his spot after extending his unbeaten streak to 13 bouts. This is the second time Ankalaev is getting a shot at the undisputed title. Recently, Gilbert Burns shared his prediction on Alex Pereira versus Magomed. Anal Burns stated that Pan would prevail by decision after 5 rounds, although his striking might not be as effective. As always, meanwhile, spectators can expect a lot of movement from the fighters during the battle. Dorino added, "I think Pone is like Pone, he's going to do all that chama this and that, and he is going to win, but Ankle is a tough. Did you know one thing I like is when you start to look at both fighters. Ankalaev had a problem with Blachowicz, so when Blachowicz was kicking him. So if that's the case, Poton kicks way harder. But that guy has a big head. Gilbert Burns brings an interesting perspective to the table, highlighting the key factors that could shape the outcome of a potential showdown between Pereira and Ankalaev. While Poon's striking power is undeniable, ANV's toughness and previous experience in high-stakes bouts also make him a dangerous opponent. It's a matchup that has all the makings of a thrilling clash where every punch, kick, and strategy will matter. Alex Pereira's take on Ankalaev. In various interviews, Pereira has spoken highly of Ankalaev's striking and overall fight IQ, but he also emphasized the importance of adapting in the fight, staying focused, and not underestimating any opponent, no matter how tough. Alex stated Magomed Ankalaev is as dangerous as any other opponent I fought. Look at him, the way that he fights. He is an ordinary guy. Of course, he has his weapons, he has his dangers, but I've been training hard, and I'm ready for him as the anticipation builds for the showdown between Alex Pereira and Magomed Ankalaev fans are eagerly awaiting what promises to be a battle of styles. Pereira, with his explosive striking and world-class kickboxing, faces off against the tough, versatile Ankalaev, whose patience and power have earned him respect in the division, and both fighters have proven themselves in the octagon, but the question remains who will emerge victorious when their skills collide. Who do you think has the edge in striking Pereira's lethal kicks or ANV's precision? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to hit that like button. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any updates.